Greetings and welcome to an Equity.Guru Investor Roundtable. It is an investor triangle today as we have the frozen man, who I have a feeling he might be spending all of his money today, which is always fun. Oh, he's up there. It's Chris Perry up. That's Galen down here in the basement as usual. What are you making today? Wow, that sounds healthy almost. But Michelle is straight up. We're talking about a company that we have talked about in the not so distant past, but it was kind of a rehash of things. But we've got a lot of new material on the site for Azincourt Resources. Jody Vance will be speaking to Alex Klenman, the CEO, around us on another little clicky click. And Mr. Lucas Kane has a neat little article. So check it out. But we're going to update what's happening because we did a uranium just the other day and a lithium just the other day. These guys are into the uranium biz. And it's AAZ on the venture exchange, and teeing it up will be Mr. VV.
Yeah, so, we talked about lithium earlier this week. We were at the Lithium Triangle, and we are at the Investor Roundtable Triangle now, and now we're going back to the Athabasca Basin, where, the highest grade uranium is found. And a lot of the names you're going to hear, actually, you've heard in yesterday's video, East Preston, Sky Harbor, but we'll get to that in just a minute. Azincourt, uranium explorer in, of course, the Athabasca Basin, but they do hold 3 properties: the East Preston Uranium Project, Hatchet Lake, and then they also have one, I believe it's in Peru. Yes, it is, Puno, Peru, which is the Escalera Uranium and Lithium project. So that's the one that's 100% owned, where the other 2 projects, I believe they have a stake in. We can just check here quickly. Yes, majority interest in East Preston with 70% interest, and also a majority interest in Hatchet Lake, also in Saskatchewan, with the 75% interest. And we've talked about the Athabasca Basin. The East Preston project is the one that they're focusing on recently, and I just want to show you where that is because you'll see a few names. So there's Azincourt, and that's the East Preston project right down there. But there we go. Let's zoom in a bit. You have your next gen nearby. You also have, of course, Fission 3.0, a company that we talked about, just yesterday. But strategically located, near next gen's high grade Arrow deposit there, and also the Triple R deposit. But basically Athabasca, right? That's the region where if you are looking to invest into uranium, we'd probably recommend sticking in Canada and Saskatchewan just because of the jurisdiction, but again, the highest grade uranium that we have. And getting excited, on uranium, we talked about the breakout, new highs in 2022. There's a bit of a pullback that we are expecting. We talked about this in detail in the last Investor Roundtable, but this is giving us an opportunity to look for these plays that are either near a support level or at that support level, basically giving us an opportunity to buy the dip. And then in terms of Azincourt, you have that going on with the fundamentals of uranium supply and demand. We discussed that. But recent news, as we have said, the East Preston Uranium Project. So they've just completed a drill program there. Around the end of March, actually, is when they completed it. So we do have some upcoming catalysts, which of course will be those drill results, which obviously, for any type of junior miner, drill results can cause the stock to shoot up high if the market really likes what's there, because it basically increases the probability that they're sitting on something really big. And a lot of other stuff, right? Mostly on the finance side. So we've heard about a 5.1 private placement. Now the company has some cash that they can use again to initiate more catalysts, initiate more drilling. And then I believe Mr. Alex Klenman spoke with Chris about this 2.5 to 1 share consolidation, which on the day we're recording, I believe the actual consolidation is going to take into effect on, yes, it is effective at the opening of market on April 21st, 2022. So by the time you're watching this video, yes, there will be a share consolidation. So some of the prices off the chart that I'll talk about in just a minute will be affected, but the structure will still remain the same.
And by the way, you mentioned the Chris video. That was also in March, and that will also be available around us as well. So you're going to get a full complement of new, almost brand new and very brand new Azincourt material. Galen, you've been around these guys talking.
I have. Unfortunately, I haven't been around you guys talking very much because when I started the show, my mic was off. So we didn't hear that I was doing the whole sun-dried tomato scone thing. So people were looking at you puzzled, going like, what the hell's he talking to?
No,
that's okay. No. You heard me.
They didn't hear you.
They didn't hear me.
Oh, okay.
But now they have. So I'm just informing them. Just
so you're making sun-dried tomato and something
and chive scones.
Chive scones.
Which you said might be healthy, and I wasn't so sure.
They're like, what?
Yeah, it's close. It's close
All
to
right.
healthy, I guess.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about Azincourt and then talk a bit about uranium in and of itself. Azincourt is a project or a company that's working itself in the Athabasca Basin, which is a highly prolific area in terms of uranium exploration and discovery. Their East Preston project, as Vishal said, is nestled quite nicely in amongst other highly prospective finds within the area, next gen in particular. So, there's some good results that these guys have. They need to put more drills in the ground. They need to really build on what they have, but they got something. They also signed something just recently that shows that you're being nimble. They've got a non-binding LOI in place with a company called Oberon Uranium in order for Oberon to be able to acquire interest within, and I think is it 100% interest? Yes. Hold on. Let me just double check. It is 100% interest? Okay, well, I'll double check on that, but it is acquiring an interest in Azincourt's Peruvian assets, which will allow the company to focus more on their Athabasca prospects and give them some money, because it looks like some of this is involving money coming north, and also them Oberon expending money down south in terms of exploration, and also offering Azincourt, shares in Oberon for the privilege of having that interest. So they're getting kind of the best of both worlds. Getting that work done in Peru so they can see what's happening down there, but not having to spend the money to do it, and then getting shares in the company that's actually offering those services. So they can now, as I said before, focus more on their North American projects, in Athabasca Basin, which I think really is what they need to be doing. Now, we've talked about the uranium sector, and yes, we're hitting highs within the sector in terms of uranium pricing. The market itself has changed dramatically. It used to be controlled, the spot pricing and the market trading used to be controlled by the producers and the utilities buying the materials, to the point like 90% of the activity was them. So it was not very liquid in terms of how it operated, and very controlled. But now is only about a 30 to 40% share on these producers and utilities, and the rest is retail investment and institutional investment. So there's a bit more liquidity involved, which makes it somewhat safer for a retail investor to get in, because you can get back out again. You're not locked in for like 15 years until a contract expires. So, however, there are not constraints, but well, let's just say constraints, because I'm too sick right now to think anything different. All right, so constraints in terms of the industry, that yes, uranium is becoming more valuable. How valuable it's going to become is up for debate at this point in time. It's an uncertain future in terms of usage. And when I say that, I mean there's other technologies out there, thorium reactors and such. The reactors themselves are becoming more efficient, and have to, in terms of use of radioactive materials. So this is going to change the game somewhat, because as of, I believe, 2020, a tally came out saying that 90% of what's required right now for production is being provided. Now, if you can count that producers can turn up the taps and increase their own capacities, it might be a while before we see new players entering the scene. And it takes a while for a mine to come into play. We're talking between 5 and 10 years. So, when you're investing in this, keep in mind that yes, it will become very important as it isn't just being important now. And then, it will be a major factor within the renewable energy space because it will provide this baseline power. But to what degree is to be debated. So if you're going to get investing, I would suggest take a look at companies like Azincourt. There is an opportunity, and there might be something in the way of trading. I'm always a long-term investor. So look for somebody that's got something that might actually come to fruition. Not just somebody screaming that they've got a hole in the ground that could be something, because they're at least 15 years away of making that happen. Look at companies that actually have got something in the ground and prospectors and researchers and analysts out there doing the work right now. Azincourt is one of those individuals. They are early stage, but they've got some great aspects to what they're doing that make it a little less risky than stepping in on somebody with a greenfield project. The other thing is, look at uranium itself. Yeah. There are several ETFs out there that you can get involved in. What is it, Sprott's Uranium, that you can get your toes dangled into? Yeah. The Uranium Trust. That's something you can also take a look at if you're wanting to get in and benefit from the sector itself rather than having to bet on one company. Another idea, and we've talked about this yesterday, well, the last time we filmed our roundtable, we talked about uranium royalty companies. Royalty companies in any way, shape, or form, if they're done well, are money printers. They make money when it's going, they make money when it ain't. And making money when it ain't means that they're buying prospects and properties at severely reduced prices and still gaining that royalty off of those properties. So, but that aside, Azincourt is a nice company. I like the management. We're going through a painful transition right now, but that's in order to provide the ability to finance further exploration, which is very important for an explorer. So they're doing what they need to do. And they're in a good area with what seems to be a good potential project.
And Vishal, you can take a little closer look at the aforementioned charts that Galen was referring to as we look at AAZ on the Venture Exchange, which is Azincourt Resources.
Sure. And again,
Azincourt Energy. Thank you.
Yeah. And again, just a disclaimer that at the open on April 21st, so by the time this video comes out, there will be a share consolidation, and instead of 568 million shares, they're going to have it approximately 227,308,125 shares outstanding. So the price levels here are going to be, completely different. However, the structure of the chart here, will still be the same. So we've talked about this in a previous video, where we are watching this support here at the 5.5 cent zone. It's held quite well, and I think you can even extend it maybe up to 6 cents, because there's a period here, a period of 3 months from mid-December to almost the end of February there, where we were just ranging here between 6 cents to 7 cents here. And I drew this triangle. So I like these triangles, especially when they have 3 touches or more. You have one here, you have your second one, you have your third one, and you actually have your fourth one on the retest. So when you see that, when you see multiple touches, this is now a trend line that other traders and the market is respecting and is adhering to and watching. So I did really like that breakout, and I did really like this retest here of that trend line. And recently it looks like we are finding some support at this 7 cent level. Almost a breakout. We almost had a breakout above 8.5 cents here, which would, give us basically what I was calling the round 2 of a new leg up. But as you can see, on the days we actually closed above it, weren't really strong candles. Like the prices got pushed back down to basically exactly 8.5 cents. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to extend this up higher to our 9 cent level. So I'm going to move our resistance now up to 9 cents. And if we can get a close above 9 cents and a very strong close above it, that can get us ready for a leg two higher to basically 12.5 cents. And, we could be even looking at not record highs, sorry, but recent highs here at 17.5 cents. But of course, that would mean that we'd have to get some good news on the drill results, and likely, the uranium sector itself is going to have to explode on higher uranium prices, which would cause, some of these juniors that, as Galen mentioned, are still early stage, to follow along. So watching 9 cents as resistance, and at the bottom here, I'm going to look at the 7 to 6.5 cents zone. Again, just an area that we've been watching, or the stock's been trading since December of 2021, and you just got to really wait for the breakout. But honestly, buying at these levels at near support, it does look quite good on a risk versus reward perspective. And if we take a look at recent volume, you can see the stock is traded quite nicely on the day we're recording. Happy 420, everyone. Not a cannabis video, but uranium. But 2.2 million shares traded today on the April 20th. And then we actually had 7.9 million shares traded on the 19th, which quite a lot. But you can see, recently there's been volume over 1 million shares traded. We've had 6 million in the past, March 10th, another 7 million day on the 1st of March. So there's volume, right? That's always a good sign when you see volume like that. And if we just take a look at the average volume, let's just take a look at that. Okay, there we go. So average volume is usually 1.8 million shares traded. So it's, when we're past 1.8, like today, 2.2 million shares traded, you are above your average volume, which is always a good sign. But, I'm thinking if you want to approach this, just wait a little bit, wait till that share consolidation occurs, and then just give it a few days for the stock to, I guess, find its basing again, see where it wants to, see how the market takes the share consolidation. I'm not expecting much. Like, I don't think the market's going to be too volatile about it. I think, as I said, the structure will remain similar. It's just the pricing will be different, but maybe there's some shareholders that will say, hey, let's get rid of my shares right now.
Well, that's the number one question for you guys, is when you decide if you're spending the money, is do you wait on the post share consolidation, or is that something you leap on immediately? Like, that's really
you never know. Like, technically, if it just transfers straight across and nobody kvetches or sells or buys in, we're going from 6 cents a share to approximately 15 cents a share, approximately, right? But you've got people that are going to panic, probably. Maybe, you don't know. Investors can do whatever they like, who may panic and decide, as Vishal said, to sell their shares, and that will impact the price in a negative fashion and bring it below 15.
That might open the door.
It might open the door for people who feel that the worth at that point, 15 is a nice number. It's still a penny stock. They still have an actual asset. Or two of them, in fact, and then 3 if you count the stuff that they've got going on in Peru. So it's not like they're just sitting there with empty books going, please let us keep the lights on. And still at 15 cents, any kind of real news coming out of their exploration will impact share price. It's not going to be some sort of, lollygagging thing that sits around 15 forever. It's bound for movement one way or the other, depending on what kind of news we get over the next 12 months.
Right. And they just finished the drilling at the very end of March. I don't know how long it takes to get all your results, but
it depends. There's been a bit of a backlog in terms of getting assays back because of COVID. And since I haven't seen any announcements, at least I could be blind, the cold is overtaking me, but I haven't seen anything since, so there's nothing yet to arrive, and they haven't made any announcements yet. So we could be into May even before we see anything on that front. Positive news, however, in terms of the Peruvian deal that they've made to option out those properties, because it does provide them some liquidity and cash moving forward.
Do you guys want to talk about Buku Bucks yet, or do you have another chart to look at?
That's about it. No, I was just going to say that's a good transition to.
Well, then go ahead, Gail, and we'll stick with you for your
Well,
your
you
500.
know, uranium, it's not a surefire thing, but it is something that is going to happen. And surefire in terms of like hockey stick growth or anything like that. I don't
Right.
think that's going to happen. But it will increase. It will do that dogged climb. So it's probably something you'd want to get into in terms of the mineral itself. Like as I said before, the Sprots trust, uranium trust, or
Uranium
even
trust.
getting into the uranium royalties to take advantage of the entire sector. Azincourt provides a great growth opportunity if that's what you're looking for. It's not necessarily something that is a solid go. Exploration's hard and it requires money. So they're trying to do both of those things, and this share consolidation at least shows the company is serious about trying to move forward. So let's say that I'll drop $3,000 spread across the Sprots and and the actual uranium, and then I'm going to put 15. But I'd like to see and gauge how the rest of the year pans out, because as I said before,
Right.
it's based on news. But I want to see before I put the 15 in where it levels out post consolidation.
Yeah.
So 45. Let's say 45.
All right, Michelle, what are you thinking?
Okay, so Rob, I'm going to take the approach that I used your 7,500 yesterday, and I'm basically really bullish on uranium. So I have positions right now in the Sprott Uranium Fund. I think it was 3K in that. It was 3K in the Global Uranium Trust, and it was 1,500 in Sky Harbor, which actually we should mention. Sky Harbor is a partner with Azincourt on that East Preston project. So I'm already in a way sort of already invested in Azincourt, through Sky Harbor. So I like those plays particularly. And if you're really bullish on uranium, as I said, right, if the prices do continue to move higher on spot uranium post this pullback, which, I'm looking at maybe even $73 as a resistance level for uranium to go up to. And if that occurs, then I think not only are the majors going to do well, but a lot of these miners will also tend to do well. Very similar to, the gold markets, where a lot of these gold charts that are traded see a move higher with the prices of gold. And mind you, there's a lot more junior miners, like gold miners and silver miner stocks, than there are uranium stocks, right? So I do
Very
think,
true.
yeah, so I do think, money will look at some of these junior miners, and they might do quite well because of that. So I'm going to put in 2K in Azincourt as my very, very bullish on uranium stance. Mind you, holding positions also in physical uranium, Sprott uranium, and that uranium royalty trust and Sky Harbor. So if I'm really, really bullish on uranium, I think these juniors will also have a nice roller coaster ride to the upside with the price of uranium.
Now, just because my internal calculator has blown a gasket, are you at 7,500?
I'm doing 2K in Azincourt,
2K.
just specifically, but
Azincourt by
I'm
itself.
saying
Okay.
that because, I'm saying that as I invested 7,500.
I gotcha. So
Doesn't matter.
2K.
But
2K in Azincourt particularly.
That means 5,500 for lunch.
Yeah. Whoa.
That's for silver miners.
He doesn't want to spend it. He's not going to spend it. That's
Yeah,
fine.
no kidding, man.
I
Let's
don't have
go
a problem.
eat.
It's going to sit in my bank.
Yeah.
So.
Oh,
I
Chris
knew-
is super excited. I think he's throwing the whole thing down.
Ding, ding, ding.
The guy just can't.
Stalker.
He's got that smile on, man.
Can't control himself.
All
7,500.
optimism. Look at him go.
Why not? See what happens.
Yeah.
I'm kind of stoked to see what happens with this consolidation. I'll give it a couple
Yeah.
days and go nuts.
Absolutely.
We're
He's shown a lot of guts by making this happen. It's a difficult thing to do. It's necessary, and if you're looking at it correctly, as investors should, it's the right thing to do. Yeah, you got to do it.
Don't freak out.
Yeah.
We're going to continue Resource Week. We've done a lot of resource. We're going to do a little oil and gas coming up in another session here in the not so distant future. But don't forget to check out, oh, by the way, besides the brand new Jody with Alex Glenman, and also the charts and the article by Lucas Kane, we also have the Chris Perry deep dive from March with Alex as well. So lots going on the site when you see this video alongside. Can't guarantee results from what we've told you, and we also can't guarantee results from past performance. So please do your own homework. And good luck with Azincourt. It should be a fun one to watch, interesting one to watch, and hopefully a profitable one to watch. And we'll see you watching us on the very next Equity Guru Investor Around Table.